Majestic Leo souls, gather round. I want you to feel the radiant sun within your very heart, the golden light that is your divine birthright. But what happens when a cloud, a persistent chilling shadow, is cast over your light? And what if that shadow comes from someone who is supposed to be standing in your corner, a member of your very own family? If you have felt a strange and powerful reclaiming of your own energy, a brilliant warmth returning to your spirit after creating distance from a particular family member, then know this was no mere coincidence. You have just witnessed the first sign of a profound cosmic intervention. Welcome, beautiful souls, to Cosmic Wisdom, the space where we uncover the sacred truths written in the stars. This video is not about placing blame. It is a sacred confirmation, a divine mirror to show you that your recent withdrawal was not an act of rebellion, but an act of divine protection. The brilliant peace you are beginning to feel was orchestrated by the universe itself. Today, as your guide, I will walk with you through the 6 unmistakable signs that the cosmos is actively protecting you, the mighty Leo, from a family connection that was dimming your magnificent light. And our journey begins with the most undeniable truth of all: the moment their shadow lifted, your sun began to shine again. Dear Leo, there are moments in life that feel like the sun breaking through the clouds after a long, dreary storm. There was no grand declaration, no final dramatic scene. It was simply the quiet closing of a door, or perhaps just a step back on your part, and suddenly you could feel your own warmth again. A vibrant golden energy began to blossom in your chest, a feeling of creative power returning to your veins after years of feeling strangely muted and inexplicably tired. This wasn't the quiet, gentle peace that some signs feel. Oh no, for you, a child of the sun, peace is not quiet. It is vibrant. It is a roaring fire in your heart, reignited. It is the feeling of stepping back onto your own center stage, under your own spotlight, after being forced to play a small supporting role in someone else's dreary drama. Perhaps you've asked yourself, why do I feel so much more like myself when they aren't around? Why does their absence make my own spirit feel brighter, more creative, more powerful? Am I selfish? Am I disloyal? Let me answer this with the deepest reverence for your magnificent soul. No, you are not wrong. You have simply stepped out of an energetic field that was causing a spiritual eclipse. The person in question, perhaps unknowingly, perhaps not, was blocking your light. And what you are feeling now is not selfishness. It is the glorious sacred return of your own sovereignty. True radiance for a Leo doesn't arrive after you finally won their approval or convinced them of your worth. It comes when you decide you no longer need their applause to shine. You don't need to be validated by those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You only need to be seen by the cosmos. And my friend, the universe has never once taken its eyes off of you. People often speak of the unbreakable bonds of family, but even the sun can be suffocated if it's trapped in a small, dark room. You tried, didn't you? You tried to be loyal. You dimmed your own light to make them feel more comfortable. You celebrated their small victories while they ignored your grand triumphs. You did everything you could to hold the pride together, but you forgot that a true pride of lions celebrates the strength of its mightiest member. It doesn't try to muzzle them. I know those nights you've laid awake staring at the ceiling, feeling a profound sense of injustice. You didn't cry out of weakness. You cried because you kept giving your golden light, your loyalty, your magnificent heart to someone who treated it not like a treasure, but like a threat. Your soul isn't tired because you're weak, Leo. Your soul was exhausted because you were trying to power a whole system that was actively draining your battery. And then the universe whispered, "You do not have to perform for a hostile audience to be loved. I love you, and I see your magnificent light even when they refuse to." The universe did not design you a radiant celestial body to be a flickering candle in someone else's shadow. It did not create you with a heart of pure gold just to let it be tarnished by words of jealousy and criticism. It led you away not with a quiet retreat, but with a powerful reclaiming of your own throne. You stopped performing for them, you stopped seeking their approval, and suddenly your creative ideas began to flow again. You started laughing from your belly again. You no longer checked your phone with a sense of dread, bracing for the next subtle jab or backhanded compliment. You have returned to the most divine and simple truth of your being, your inner kingdom. Your worth is not determined by their recognition. Something beautiful has happened, Leo. The universe has removed you from a stage where you were being judged, and it has built you a brand new one, where you are destined to be celebrated. It is cutting the energetic cord that kept you tethered to their narrative, to their limitations, to their fear of your power. Your silence, your withdrawal, was your most powerful roar. Because in that space, the universe is fighting for you. As it is written, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And for a Leo, being still means refusing to engage in the drama, refusing to give your energy away. If you have felt this glorious return of your own light, this sense of creative power flowing back into you after distancing yourself from someone, I want you to honor it. It is a message, a divine confirmation. You don't need to be angry. You don't need to look back. Just keep walking toward the sun. Can you feel that truth now? Can you recognize that your peace is not empty, but full of your own magnificent light? If so, I invite you to declare this for yourself in the comments below. Write, "My light is my own again." This is not for anyone else. This is a sacred decree for your own soul. There is a kind of clarity, dear Leo, that doesn't arrive softly. It arrives like a bolt of lightning, illuminating a dark landscape for one brilliant, shocking moment. And in that moment, you see everything exactly as it is. For years, you, with your generous and loyal heart, made excuses for them. You are the king of the zodiac, and a benevolent king always tries to see the best in his subjects. You told yourself, they don't really mean it, or they're just critical because they love me and want the best for me, or they've had a hard life, that's why they can't be happy for me. You draped their sharp words in the most beautiful royal cloaks of justification. But a soul as true as yours cannot live on illusions forever. One day you opened your eyes, not your physical eyes, but your heart's eye, the eye of the sun that sees all truth. And the truth doesn't need to shout. It's revealed in a repeated pattern, a subtle sneer at your success, a condescending tone when you share a big dream, a consistent way of turning the conversation back to their own problems the moment you start to shine. And this time, you didn't dismiss it. You suddenly realized with a clarity that was both painful and liberating that their criticism wasn't about helping you. It was about controlling you. Their lack of enthusiasm wasn't forgetfulness. It was jealousy. Their constant needling wasn't love. It was a desperate attempt to keep your light from outshining their own. Their love was conditional, and the condition was that you must never ever become more magnificent than them. The scripture says, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." The universe will not allow the children of the sun to live in darkness forever. And you, dear Leo, were chosen to see the truth, even if that truth burns. You no longer need external proof to know that their energy was toxic. You only need to listen to your own heart. When the divine light of truth shines on what you once excused as normal, it becomes utterly unacceptable. You no longer laugh off the joke that was actually a deep cut at your character. You no longer shrink your dreams to make them fit into their small box of expectations. You no longer believe you are too much or too dramatic for simply expressing your passionate, fiery nature. You awaken to a fundamental truth you have been performing on a rigged stage. And the most painful part is not what they did, but that for a time you believed their script. You believed you were the one who was flawed. Leo, your soul sees the world as a grand creative stage, but sometimes you get so caught up in your role as the loyal family member that you forget to read the director's notes. And the universe, the great director, has just handed you the script, and you see their true character written in black and white. You see now that this relationship wasn't a sacred bond. It was a cage subtly designed to keep your magnificent roar a kitten's meow. You used to think love meant earning your place in the pride, but no true king should have to audition for his own throne. No sun should have to ask permission to shine. The universe did not gift you with charisma, a creative heart, and a leader's spirit, only for you to use it all to endlessly justify and forgive the one who is secretly trying to dethrone you. The universe opened your eyes not to make you bitter, but to set you free, because no true, loyal love ever asks you to play small. Truth hurts because it shatters the beautiful stained glass window of the story you wanted to believe. But that shattering is what finally lets the real sunlight in. If you are standing in this moment of awakening, today know this: you have not been abandoned. You have been initiated. You have been given the gift of royal sight. And once a king sees the truth, he can never go back to pretending he is a peasant. If someone makes you feel you must apologize for your own brightness to be loved, they are not your people. If someone only loves you when you are dim, compliant, and serving their ego, they are not worthy of a place in your royal court. You are not too much. You have simply been offering your magnificent blazing fire to someone with a thimble-sized capacity to receive it. And when the universe opens your eyes to this, that is the sign that a new reign your reign has begun. There are times in life, Leo, when the entire court seems to vanish. The calls stop, the invitations fade, the messages go unanswered. You find yourself sitting alone in the throne room of your life, a space that once buzzed with energy, now feeling eerily silent and vast. And in that silence, you turn inward and ask the question that haunts every monarch: have my people abandoned me? My beautiful royal friend, you did nothing wrong. You have simply entered the sacred and necessary phase of royal exile, a period where the soul is set apart to discover its own innate power separate from its audience. This isolation is not a punishment. It is a divine strategy. It is the moment the cosmos intentionally clears the stage, silencing all the supporting actors so you can finally hear the powerful regal voice of your own soul. At first, it feels like rejection. You feel as though your light has gone out and everyone has left. But do you know what is truly happening? It is in the profound silence of this solitude that the universe is bringing you back to the source of your own kingdom. It is reminding you that you are not a king because you have subjects. You are a king because royalty is in your very blood. As the psalm says, "Be still and know that I am God." And for a Leo, this means be still and know that you are the sun. You do not need planets to validate your fire. You are the fire. Something miraculous happens in this exile. You begin to see with stunning clarity that you have been living for the applause. You've tailored your performance to please the critics in the front row. You've hidden your most authentic, brilliant ideas for fear of being called arrogant. You've placed your magnificent light under a bushel simply because you feared the jealousy of those who could not shine as brightly. This isolation, though it feels like a fall from grace, is the sacred ground where you find your true, unshakable throne, the one within yourself. Think of the great stories of exiled kings. Think of Aragorn living as a ranger in the wild before he could claim his throne. He had to learn that his royalty was not in his crown, but in his character. If he had not been isolated, would he have developed the strength, the humility, and the wisdom to rule? No. And neither would you, dear Leo. Perhaps you too have been cast into a wilderness not to perish, but to hear the first true roar of your own divine authority. Isolation doesn't come to break you. It comes to make you unbreakable. It clears away the sycophants and the critics so you can see who you are when no one is watching. You may have once thought, if everyone leaves me, maybe I am not worthy of being a leader. But the truth is, when the cosmos pulls you aside, it's not because you are unworthy. It's because the people around you are no longer a vibrational match for the empire you are destined to build. That period of exile is why you now know how to lead with true heart. It's why you know the difference between confidence and arrogance. It's why you can now be a generous and warm leader because you are no longer dependent on the adoration of others. The universe did not cast you out. It simply enrolled you in an advanced course in divine sovereignty. Do you see it now? You are not who you were. You were once a performer seeking a stage. Now you understand that wherever you stand is the stage. You don't need anyone to write your lines because you have listened to the epic story within your own heart. And now you are ready to step out of that sacred isolation with deeper wisdom, with a generosity that comes from true inner abundance, and with a heart that has been broken open to its own magnificent power. If today you find yourself in that quiet kingdom, if you are wondering if your light still matters, know this: the universe has never stopped seeing you. Every time you held your head high when you wanted to crumble, that was a royal act recorded in the heavens. There comes a day, Leo, when you stand in the same room and the same old criticisms are fired your way like arrows. But something has changed. You hear the whistle as they fly past, but you feel no impact. They simply bounce off, clattering uselessly to the floor. Because somewhere on your journey, a new layer of armor has been forged around your heart. Not an armor of cold steel, but one of pure, impenetrable, golden light. No Leo is born with this armor. You came into this world with a brave, open, and generous heart, believing that all creatures were as noble and loyal as you. You took words to heart. You let the judgments of others define your worth. When they called you dramatic, you tried to become subdued. When they called you arrogant, you tried to shrink. You, the mighty lion, tried to contort yourself into the shape of a house cat just to be accepted, just to keep the peace in the pride. You silenced your grand visions. You buried your brilliant creativity. You hid your natural flair, all to avoid the sting of their labels. Every criticism, you didn't just hear it. You internalized it, believing it was a flaw you needed to fix. You became a master of smiling graciously while your royal heart was breaking inside. You learned to stay silent when your spirit was roaring with injustice. But then a moment arrived, a moment of profound self-anointing. Perhaps after one final cutting remark, you felt nothing. Not because you were numb, but because your soul had finally fully and completely accepted its own divine worth. Like a king who can no longer be swayed by the gossip of the scullery maid, you had risen to a new level of consciousness. You no longer collapse from their words because you have found your own true voice, and its resonance is the roar of 1,000 lions drowning out their petty whispers. They may still talk, they may still judge, they may still think they have you figured out, but you no longer require them to understand you because you finally understand yourself. You understand that their need to criticize you is not about you at all. It is a reflection of their own lack, their own fear, their own dimly lit inner world. No one has the right to grant or take away your worth, Leo. That worth is not decided by a committee of flawed human beings. It was bestowed upon you by the creator of the cosmos. As the scripture says, I have called you by name. You are mine. Your true name is not too much or not enough. Your true name is beloved, radiant, magnificent. And from the moment you began to believe this in your bones, you no longer needed their praise, and you no longer feared their criticism. Sometimes people will mistake your newfound immunity for coldness. They will say, "You've changed. You're not as warm as you used to be." But you are not cold. You are simply no longer on fire for their approval. You have left the stage where they were the self-appointed critics. You have stopped auditioning for a role you were born to play. You know now that those who are meant to be in your kingdom will celebrate your light. They will not demand that you justify it. You used to live in fear of the question, what if they don't like me? But now you live by a new, more powerful question. What if I no longer like the person I become when I am around them? And you have chosen to return to the authentic, brilliant, unapologetic version of yourself. Their words are just noise now, unable to land in the sacred garden of your heart because you no longer leave the gate open for vandals. If you have felt this shift, this glorious moment, when their words lost all power over you, you may whisper or write down this sentence as a sacred mark of your freedom: I am shielded by my own light. No applause needed. Just you standing fully in your magnificent, unshakable power. Some arrivals, dear Leo, happen as if by cosmic decree. After the stage has been cleared, after you have learned to find your throne in solitude, the universe begins to send you your true people. They arrive without fanfare, but with a powerful sense of recognition. They are the ones who don't just see your light, they celebrate it. They are your true royal court. After all the loss, after the sting of disloyalty from those who should have been your champions, you may have started to believe that you were destined to walk this path alone. You accepted the role of the solitary monarch, strong and self-reliant. You learned to be your own audience, your own cheerleader, your own counsel. But the universe did not intend for a ruler as generous and warm-hearted as you to reign in an empty hall. It did not fill the silence with more silence. Instead, it began to send souls who resonate with your true frequency. A friend who calls you up and says, I had this amazing idea, and you were the only person I could imagine leading it. A collaborator who isn't intimidated by your vision, but is inspired by it. A stranger who looks you in the eye and says, you have an incredible energy. This kind of support doesn't always come from those who share your bloodline. It comes from those who share your soul line. As it is written, two are better than one, for if they fall, one will lift up his companion. And it is true. You stumbled, and the one who should have caught you instead pointed out your misstep. But now, new hands are reaching out not to fix you, but simply to applaud your rising. The universe knows that even the mighty sun needs planets to reflect its glory. It knows that even the strongest lion thrives as part of a proud and loyal pride. So after removing the one who drained your light, it did not leave you in a vacuum. It filled that space with people who see your shine and want to add to it, not subtract from it. When you talk with them, it feels easy, expansive, exciting. You don't have to edit yourself. You don't have to shrink. You feel seen. You may still feel a pang of sadness for the family member you lost along the way. You remember them not because they deserved your loyalty, but because you, in your magnificent heart, so desperately wanted to give it. But true loyalty isn't in a blood tie. It's in the way someone quietly champions your success, defends your name in your absence, and celebrates your victories as if they were their own. Someone new has arrived, Leo, or perhaps several someones. They have not come to replace anyone. They have come to reflect back to you the magnificence you were starting to forget you possessed. You might be cautious at first. Your royal heart is wary of betrayal, but your soul will know. Your spirit will begin to soar in their presence, because you are finally being loved, not for what they can get from you, but for the brilliant, fiery, passionate soul that you are. Real love for a Leo is recognition. It is admiration. It is loyalty. The universe is not sending you people to make you dependent. It is sending you a true audience to awaken the performer, the leader, the creator within you that you had put to sleep. If today, as you listen to this, you can think of someone new in your life whose presence makes you feel more expansive and more yourself, please know this is a direct answer to a prayer you may have never even spoken aloud. Do not mourn the empty seats in the theater. Celebrate the new audience that is giving you a standing ovation. Some things, magnificent, Leo, cannot manifest until the stage is cleared of all distractions. Not because you are unworthy, but because your destiny is so grand, it requires your full, undivided attention. How many times have you stood on the precipice of a great leper new business, a creative project, a bold move, only to be pulled back by the subtle yet powerful gravity of that one person's doubt? They didn't forbid you from dreaming, but they planted a seed of fear. Are you sure that's a good idea? Isn't that a little risky? What will people think? And you, with your heart that so deeply craves harmony within your pride, hesitated. You second-guessed your brilliant sun-inspired instincts. You allowed their fear to dim your faith. But the cosmos did not breathe fire into your soul for you to live a life of lukewarm caution. It did not give you a king's vision just for you to trade it for the approval of someone with a peasant's perspective. As the scripture promises, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Sometimes the new thing cannot spring up because you are still standing in the shadow of the old. And so, the universe, in its infinite wisdom, removes them from your path. The heckler in the front row has finally been escorted out. The saboteur backstage has been exposed and banished. And in the sudden, stunning silence, the stage manager of the cosmos gives you your cue. Suddenly, the email you've been waiting for arrives. The funding for your project mysteriously comes through. The perfect partner for your business appears as if from nowhere. You wake up one morning with a crystal-clear vision and an unstoppable surge of energy to create. There is no more heaviness, no more second-guessing, no more psychic static from someone who was always pulling you down. There is only you, the spotlight, and the wide-open stage of your future. Dear Leo, some of heaven's greatest blessings are only delivered when your hands are empty enough to receive them. When you are no longer buried under the weight of someone else's limitations. You did not come to this earth to live within the tiny borders of their fear. You came to build an empire. You came to enter your own promised land, a kingdom where no one can ever again control the magnificent light that you carry. And now, as you stand in this new open space, take a deep, powerful breath. Feel that the door is wide open, not because you kicked it down, but because you are finally light enough, free enough, and powerful enough to simply walk through it. Look back for a moment. Has a grand opportunity ever arrived just after that person's influence was removed from your life? A piece of good news, a dream reignited, a feeling of unstoppable confidence you never felt when they were near. If the answer is yes, that was not a coincidence. That was a divine clearing. That was a sacred alignment. The universe was waiting for the moment you finally reclaimed your throne. And if today a grand door has opened just after a difficult goodbye, if you are standing before a magnificent new beginning and your soul is roaring yes, you can write one final thing as a soul decree for yourself. My stage is cleared. My reign begins. Because you are no longer who you were. You have closed the last chapter, not because the story ended, but because your epic was just beginning. A departure is not a loss, Leo. It is a promotion. It is a sign that your soul has been upgraded to a new level of reality. And to go there, you cannot carry the baggage of those who do not believe in your glory. From here on, you need no one's permission. The universe has seen you, and it has chosen you long, long ago. Thank you for walking this sacred path with me today. May your light shine so brightly it illuminates the world, and may every step you take be one of courage, creativity, and divine authority.